I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping.
Artlist.io.
Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping.
Mark Gaston, we are live.
Oh my goodness!
We are live.
We're black and white. What happened? We're back in time.
Let me get that. There we go. There we go. The music doesn't match the.
Time. We're going black and white. We're back in time.
Yeah, why not mix it up a little bit? You know,
Yeah,
get somebody's attention, interest
absolutely.
here.
They're probably going to say, "Man, don't these guys understand? We're in the 21st, 22nd century now, or something of that nature."
Oh well, it is what it's going to be. Got it in blurred background here, and
Absolutely.
ready to go. So, how you been, my friend? I know you had a crazy.
I know. Yeah. Well, I've been doing great, Tom. You know my story, and if those of some of you that don't, always expect the unexpected. My wife had some health issues. We had to get that rectified. We're still not out of the woods yet. Not that there's anything in danger, so to speak, but you go through this as you get older, and you never know what's going to happen to you. So we had to deal with that and travel out of town, go to a funeral for one of her relatives, and going back and forth, somewhat doing my work. And I do want to thank my company. They sent me a little care package, which came in handy when we came back from our trip, which was nice, and thank you to my younger son who made some meals for us. But it was good to be home this weekend. I was really happy about that, as I adjust this. But yeah, it could have been worse, but I'm not complaining. I got my health. I'm doing my thing, and
Yeah, I will trade my crazy week any day versus what you had going on. So
yeah.
But
Well, I didn't get much sleep, that first week. So, and then last week we had to go back and do it all over again. So, and I think in about 3 weeks, the last procedure. I love how doctors will tell you, it's just like cut and dry, and nothing's cut and dry. No pun intended there, but yeah, it's just they act like it's every day because they do it every day.
Yeah.
And,
well, there's a risk to any medical procedure,
we lost Tom.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. We all have disruptions, things that get in the way, things that takes us out of our routine.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kathy, my wife, was invited to teach at a massage school 2 days, Saturday and Sunday of this week. So
you were in Green Bay, weren't you?
Went up to Green Bay, but I was heading home Thursday afternoon, and my car just died. It'd been acting up a little bit, phasing out and popping back on, but it wouldn't restart. So good thing I have to, count my blessings and have gratitude that somebody was looking over my shoulder that the car died on Thursday afternoon. I was able to make arrangements to, we were leaving Friday morning, but rented a car and headed up to Green Bay, about two and a half hours from where I live, and had a nice drive. Trying to drive one of these newer vehicles with all the touch screens. What happened just to turn the key and the clutch and all that type of stuff. But anyway, got up there and late Friday afternoon and just kicked back and relaxed. Went out, got something to eat, brought it back to the hotel, and kicked back and watched a little bit of the Fox News and crashed.
I hear you, man.
And then,
cars are a great thing when they work, And
And while I took her the next morning to the school, which was about 3 miles away, and then I proceeded. Our hotel was about a mile down the road from Lambeau Field, so I went over to Lambeau Field, and they have different tours set up where you can go into the locker room or the game entrance tunnels and all sorts of stuff. I didn't do any of that. I just went into the pro shop, where you get your Green Bay paraphernalia. What a crazy place that is! So I did that on Saturday, and then went and picked her up at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Right.
we went out to dinner at a place as recommended, St. Bernard's, an an Irish restaurant and pub in Green Bay,
Cool.
down in Old Town, and had an an Irish cocktail,
Nice.
whiskey and a beer mixed together. I forget what it was called, a Gaelic something, but I
Right.
had the very best chicken tenders I've ever had. It was phenomenal. That's what I had for my meal. And but anyway, I had a good time. Then took Kathy the next morning to her second teaching event and picked her up in the afternoon. I went to the National Railroad Museum in Green Bay, and interesting, the history of how the railroads built this country. And Big
Right.
Boy, the biggest steam engine ever built, was there. And wow, it's incredible how big those things were back in the day, and the technology they had to create. We're going to get into some technology stuff here in a little bit, but how the railroads, steam engines, built this country, East Coast to West Coast, and
Right.
Second World War, how it was able to move munitions and elements that support the war. Thank God we had that capacity to do that throughout the country and get it overseas. So it was really a good experience. The history of the U.S. Railroad, that was cool. They had some movies. You had a little theater. You can go in and watch the movies of the history of the railroad. And it was good. I had fun. It was just myself, but I had a good time. So that was my week and weekend. So what we'd like to do is just we have is it a guest, or is that you, Mark?
That's probably me. Let me check.
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody has hopped on and said, "Hey, what's going on, guys?" Probably not, because we haven't been doing this for about 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, we did a replay last week, but
Yeah, no one's climbed on board, and I'm not going to have a stress sandwich about it. But you mentioned something interesting about railroads and technology, and it's interesting how our country's evolved. We went through the Industrial Revolution, so right now we're going through a different type of revolution, a technologically minded revolution, Tom. And I know everybody hears about this, and we some people are afraid of it, some people embrace it, some people are indifferent about it, just technology in general. But the one thing that keeps popping up here, and everybody's out there is promoting their own little thing within AI, what it can do, what it can't do, not making fun of it. Whether you are going out there and you're doing things using funnels, landing pages, whatever the case may be, whatever you're using, I applaud you for that. And if you're coming up with new ways to implement AI in your day-to-day tasks, businesses, to secure more business opportunities, that is beautiful. The one thing, since I call in these companies, a lot of times I don't talk about what it is I do day in and day out, but I will tell you at Sales Concepts, every now and then, we do run across people that are really into AI. And I think that's fantastic. The only thing I question about AI is at some point you're going to have to talk to a human being. Now, Tom has Crutcher Tool. And with that stated, it doesn't make you better. Okay. It reveals how good you already are. And I think that's the caveat. Some folks are looking for that quick fix, Tom, and you can throw in your 2 cents. Lord knows you've been in the business world for a little bit more than I have. And these are all changes for the good. It's the way you approach it. I think it's a tool, again, but not a crutch. And when I say crutch, those of that mindset are looking for, hey, this is the next thing that's going to make me a cajillion dollars, or this is the next thing that's going to, make my life easier. Now, it can and it will, but you have to control it and not allow it to control you. And Tom, you can hop in and with your own thoughts.
Well, yeah, I've been in business for myself for a long time, and the things I was taught was all the manual, your physical calendar, notepads, index cards, all that, trying to keep yourself organized. I can see the AI today just taking those mundane tasks away, organize them more efficiently, quicker.
Yep.
We're limited in the amount of time we have in life and in business as well. So, just but having those concepts down is still important to know. And just instead of relying on AI, take what you know that you need to do and use AI as an assistant to free up time, let you focus on the things that matter in your business or sales career, whatever the case may be. All business is about sales anyway.
Right.
But yeah, AI, the only thing I use AI for is I've sort of scaled back a little bit on my business activities and that type of thing. So I'm not looking to become an AI adapter or expert or guru or anything like that. But I use the AI where I have deficiencies in.
Yes.
I use Grammarly, which fixes my punctuation and gives me options on different words to use, or make sure it's a cohesive sentence. And any word, just to help. I don't use it to create content. I take my own thought, write it down, and then have them just refine it, clear up my grammatical deficiencies that may be there, and make it clearer many times. So that's the only two things I've been using any AI for.
Right.
Since it's been around for several years now, but it's really escalating. So
Right.
a lot of people are fearful that it's going to take your jobs. What do you think about that?
Again, I go back to if you allow it to control you. Companies are looking for people. You and I are at the other end of the spectrum, but I would tell any young person to have a skill set of mastering the use of AI in your industry, because that's what they're looking for. How can you improve our systems, make it better, faster, bigger, stronger? How can you reach out to more clientele, customers, clients? Yeah, I'm all for it. Some people this will replace people picking up the telephone. That's kind of where I'll say yes and no. Because again, at some point, even if you're using a funnel, you're going to have to talk to a human being. And you may have to get them on a virtual call. You may have to get them on a telephone call. You may even have to meet them, God forbid, face to face. And that's why people that go to trade shows, they love that concept, because you are meeting folks face to face. Now it's up to you how you approach each trade show. I know Randy Chapey goes to a lot of them. I could name you a lot of other people. I used to be in that industry. So yes, it's a good mechanism, and it's not dead. I know some people feel like they're useless, but you have to pick and choose which type of trade shows you're going to go to, and implement your process and how that works out for you in your industry. And we could go round and round and round about that. Just like some people feel like the telephone is a dead issue. Tom, you and I have often talked about this. If I gave you, someone's trying to call me. If I gave you a list of people to call, you would call them. Someone my son's age, and I can say this, I know what he'd do. He would probably either call, text, email, and maybe go Instagram, whatever. And that's cool. But at some point, you just got to reach out and call people. And one thing we're doing is we're telling people this is a live call. And this is Mark from Sales Concepts. One guy laughed. He picked up the phone and said, "Okay, I'm a live person talking to a live call." And we kind of laughed about it, but he said, "You know what? That's a good point. Do you want automated messages coming at you, 50, 100 a day? I mean, I guess where I'm coming from is the quality of that. I'm not saying don't ever do it, but just to rely on one aspect or one tool, that's kind of where I'm coming from my perspective. And Tom, do you get a lot of spam calls?
Huh.
Do you get a lot of text messages from our political types out there in our
I get,
country?
yeah, all sorts of things. Anything, maybe I've done a Facebook search or something. Your algorithms come up, and next thing you know, you're getting information about a topic or something you're interested in. That
Right.
blows my mind.
Right.
But
Right.
we're being monitored all the time right now. Probably they're hearing our conversation. If you
Oh,
really
sure.
get down to it.
They're probably saying, "Who are these geezers in black and white talking about AI, which they know nothing of it?" Robert said here, I had people hang up on me because they thought I was recording. Now that has happened to me as well, until I said, "Hey Tom, this is Mark with Sales Concepts on a live call," and then they're like, "Ooh, live." And there are now tools that just so you guys know, and I'm sure you're encountering if you're picking up the phone, there are mechanisms in place that it will ask who you are and the purpose of your call, and it's being screened. And I always put this is a live call in there, and it allows me to at least leave a voicemail. Otherwise, it's going to just block you and you'll never be able to get through again. So just food for thought.
Yeah.
And people are using all sorts of things because everybody's busy out there, Tom. We can't spend 24/7 on the phone, but I think you brought something up great, and I just wanted to share with everybody. AI is a tool, accelerates your thinking, helps you organize. You talked about that, Tom, refine and scale ideas, which you're doing right now. You've got a nonprofit thing that you're working on. It's leverage in its purest form, and a strong person that uses AI helps sharpen their messaging or marketing or whatever your business is. It's just going to make you better. And you brought up a great point that some people are totally afraid of. It's like, oh my God, it's going to take my job. And that's not the case.
I used a little AI this morning after we talked, and I just wanted to get some ideas. So my first question, and it was Google, which uses AI, and
Sure.
I asked a question of how is AI going to impact different industries, and it came back and with this, it just gave me some more information I didn't know about, gave me some clarity, and that impacts industries relying on routine cognitive work cognitive, what, right? Uh, Data processing and content creation with potential to disrupt 300 million jobs. Well, gee, oh God, maybe that's going to take my job. Well, you want to use AI to
Right.
become a resource for you to take your talents and skills and just enhance them, bring more clarity, bring some creativity in that maybe you don't have, but you don't have to use it as a tool, not a crutch. Too many people looking at AI. Oh, good boy, I just type something in or say something to a AI platform, and it's going to create everything I need to do. And then I just check my bank account once a week. It doesn't work that way. It's still going to take your skills, your talents, your focus, your discipline, and just manage your time more effectively. I can see that as a big resource. I remember all the time I had, enter my leads in on a spreadsheet. I didn't even have a CRM back in the day, right? had note cards with index cards, right? And alphabetically, and put them in there alphabetically, then by dates and do all sorts of stuff. That was my organization tool. That was my own artificial intelligence. Kept me organized. Now you can use artificial intelligence to take your data, management, put it into your CRM. It will help you manage when to reach out to them again, what to talk to them about.
Right.
What phase you are in the sales process with that prospect, and it'll just make you more efficient. Become an orchestrator of the tool. Don't let the tool take your job. Use the tool, become better at what you do. That's how I'm going to look at it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so some of the industries that are going to be really affected include customer service.
Yes.
That's all data. You're a customer, you bought XYZ product, and your history of your purchases and interactions with the company is going to be there. So you don't have to remember. It's going to do it for you. So when a customer contacts the company, it already has the data, the information, and based on what you ask of the bot or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be decipher something you would have done yourself quicker. And maybe, if you set it up so they have to contact you after they've screened the call, filtered it, qualified it, whatever the case may be. They even give the answer that they were looking for. But you still want to be in the loop that they're reaching back to you. But you know what it's saying. You know exactly where they are, what they're looking for, what type of support can you help them with. So I see AI as something that's going to help people. I had a question, so I just used Google. I could have used some other AI and came up with a different parameters. But you think people like legal services, finance. Now they got AI programs out there that you see on the Facebook marketing. $20. Let AI take your money and invest it in the stock market. That's great, but you should still have some basic of understanding of what.
I'm going to ask you, Tom, because I know you're tied into that. How do you feel about that? Just turning over your dollars and cents to an AI, before you consult with, your
Investment
advisor. Yes.
I think it just gives some clarification.
Sure.
If you're dealing with like with my investment advisor, I've got him working on a couple projects for me. I got some questions about some investment opportunities. So I'm relying on his expertise, his company. He's with one of the biggest investment firms in the world.
Right.
So they have resources. So I just use that. And then if I have other questions, I can put it into the AI question and I come back to confirm or enhance what I'm hearing. So I can make a decision of which direction I want to go. So I use it as a tool. Am I going to trust it? AI is going to be able to figure a lot of things out that statistically have happened and be able to say that because of the past, this is what you can expect, war, all things that are going on, like in the Mid East. There's issues in the past that determine what's going to happen with the stock market. It's going to be able to make recommendations based on historical knowledge, which we don't have
Right.
off the top of our head. So it's going to play a role. It is right now. I'm sure. I'm sure these big firms are using it to analyze the data that's coming in or the data that's out there to determine what the outcome might be
Right.
from a historical perspective, which is immense. So they can do a lot more with that. Technical writing, you know,
Right.
what a boring job that would be. Thank you, AI. If I had to
Or writing code, those that are still write code, if that's kind of falls into that category. Yeah. You mentioned, how about human resources AI? They do a lot of mundane things day to day. When you think about what human resources people do,
Yeah.
a lot to it.
Yeah. And then what I mentioned earlier, how I've used a couple AI tools, media writing and marketing. Now, if I was out looking to build another business, I would definitely look into the AI marketing to organize it, understand what the market is, how they think, what they feel, what the buying trends are and cycles and all things that are important to know, and plug that information into your business so it creates a marketing strategy and plan for you and save you time, help you write you write the content, just have it clean it up.
There you go.
It's eventually going to know your personality and how you think, and you want it to be, that's what I like about sales. It's got to be you. Even if you do your email or text messaging, you talk a different way than I talk. You look at things differently than I do. And those become important to be part of you and your authentic self when you're communicating in business or in sales or teaching or coaching, whatever the case may be. So
That's great.
AI is going to have a tool, but I don't think if you think it's going to take your job, you better learn how to orchestrate and become an AI orchestrator. How do you just enhance your talents? I think I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think in any vocation, it's going to help you sharpen your messaging. Whether you're fixing decks, I'm going to go the other route. You're an electrical engineer. You could be using AI for all sorts of things. Home inspections. Where should I be looking at, and who should I call upon? You mentioned sales and marketing. Again, that goes back to here's my business and who should I really be targeting, and when I'm reaching out to people. There's a lot it offers. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I asked that question down there, Tom. I couldn't help myself. Do you trust AI? And that's kind of that'll make you think. And
well, that's a big question that comes out is how is this information? We're being data mined all the time. Even our emails that we think are private, our text messages, that's all data mining. It's all out there. Whoever has it's gathering that information, profiling you, being able to determine what you do, when you do it, and why you do it. Your capability of buying. It's analyzing everything. They even know what your bank account is.
yes.
Yeah, hey, why call this guy? He hasn't got a penny in his account. He's not going to be able to buy a stamp to send me a letter. So it's how it's going to be used and what type of controls are going to be on, because it can be corruptive. It can be, quote, evil if you want to talk it that way. But just by being informed, but on a personal basis, become an orchestrator, AI orchestrator. Learn prompt engineering. Learn how to ask the question, what to ask, so that you can master our high quality results. If you get high quality results, then you can apply them in your job to improve your performance. That will demonstrate your proficiency to keep you as an employee. You're making them money. Bottom line, everything a company has is generating revenue. or minimizing cost to a company. Is it bottom line? That's the milk of our economy is profit. Plain and simple. And
That is,
every job is out there. It's not all about the person actually making a sale, but what can you do to reduce cost, improve efficiency, bring better clarity? And if you can be using those tools to do it, you're not indispensable.
that's funny. You should mention that, Tom, because we put out a weekly blast every Monday, and it was how to ask better questions in a negotiation. I'm not going to get into that, but I'll send you a copy of it if you want. You can read about it. But then there again, you could probably use some AI influence in that, depending on your business and what you're trying to accomplish, or if you have a purpose, a cause, you want to write a book. We all negotiate out there in today's
Yeah.
world.
And I'm
So-
sure we're like what President Trump's doing. There's somebody out there data mining his thinking and the way he thinks and how he responds, so that they either counter it or expand on it. So it's how it's going to be used in the future, which can be for the good. And I think that's what we need to focus. What's good and what's not good. Is it exploitive? Is it corruptive?
Sure.
Is it going to replace me? No.
And
I
you're,
wouldn't be afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it.
no, I think it's cool. I use it every day. I really do. In all sorts of things, for what I do day in and day out on my job, and even for personal things, or even just writing. I know this sounds crazy. I write it or I outline something. I'll say, take these bullet points and make it sound like me. And then I'll refine it some more and say, no, I want it to truly sound like me, and it, like you said, it'll go, okay, MG, that's what it calls me. I'll make it sound more like you. And I think that's important, but you just can't go up if you're in school. I'm sure somebody's tried it. Write me a paper on this subject matter. So, yeah. And you can't just say go, and yeah, it'll do it, but it's not going to be you. That's for darn sure.
It's my understanding that in college and or in schools, they can take the content a student turns in and determine whether it was AI generated or not.
Oh yeah, they can. Absolutely, they can. Yeah.
I think that's good. If you can, hey, is that real? Is that coming from Tom or Mark? Or is that something that some entity out there in the world in the AI intelligence
Sure.
created? Authenticity. I think in business, it still comes down to that person.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to sound like you and be you. People want to deal with real people, and which you always talk about this one. And my dad was a stickler. Discipline. That they call that the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't lack knowledge. What they lack is discipline, and we're all guilty of it. Even yours truly here, and when with that discipline comes the consistency, and you put those two together, that's a winning combination in my book. Easier said than done, Tom. Whether you're building a business, whether you're the head of an organization, whether you're the president of the United States, whether you're trying to write a book, or even in the world of religion, you're trying to get your message out there. It applies to everything we do. And I freely admit I fall short. I mean, I'm probably my worst critic, but that's just me. And, but when you start talking discipline and consistency, and then you start looking back, or, hey, am I really having a productive day, or am I wasting my day? And if you keep a journal, and sometimes I've done this, and you write down what you did during the day, and you're like, man, I didn't do crap. Uh, you thought you did, you were busy, but really you didn't get into the heart of the matter. So,
It goes
and,
back to that simple term we've all heard. Are you working in the business or working the business?
right,
And a lot
right.
of people think they're working their business by data inputting and creating a website or a landing page. Hey, I tell you what, AI can create a much better website than I could ever create. I just provide content and let
Sure.
it tweak it, manifest it, put the right images, set the
Right.
tone based on how my messaging, and it's done. I mean, done in minutes, not weeks or hours. Um,
Sure.
so clean up my writing, clean up my email content, or whatever the case may be. Clean up my newsletter that goes out. So I use it. Kathy has a newsletter that goes out every month to her
Right.
following, and AI can create the newsletter. You just give it some topics and it'll create it. It may not even be what you want to talk about,
Sure.
or you can give it some content. It'll create a topic or whatever the case may be.
Oh, absolutely.
At some point, people are going to figure out that I've heard that one before. Somebody else has asked the same question or presented it, and AI is kicking out the same answer to everybody. So um, it'll all catch up with you. So I'm not afraid of it. I would, I'd use it for my data inputting and that type of thing. Save
And
time. And are you working in your business or working in your business or working on your business? Two different things.
and the infamous discipline is doing the boring things, and that's where a lot of people fall short. If it's not sexy, they don't want to, discipline is doing what works even when you know it's boring. It's kind of like working out, exercising. You have a program, you adhere to it, you stick to it, and do I really want to do 50 push-ups, 100 sit-ups? Do I really want to walk or jog 3 miles? Do I really want to? You're going to benefit from it. You don't have to kill yourself or try and become Charlie Atlas, but you just got to take the first step, and that's where the average person versus the people that I know that achieve. That could be in the business world. And then there's others right now I see they're doing both. They're physically fit, they look like a machine, and plus they're successful in their business or whatever it is they do out there in the real world. And I think that's kind of cool. Um, More people are health conscious these days as opposed to the way it used to be. I don't think, I could be wrong. I don't know if people still go to bars like they used to, and they're out there. I shouldn't say that because they're still in business, but that's not me. That's not my scene. But I guess that's a place to meet people and greet people, so to speak.
Well,
And
you speaking of bars, I was up in Green Bay.
I'm sure they were there, right?
Yeah, Wisconsin's known for its drinking. It's
Okay. That's
uh,
why Tom's laughing when I said that.
so I was up in Green Bay. I was driving down what they call Broadway, which is
Right.
where Lambeau Field comes in, and Broadway takes you to the paper mill area on the Fox River, Georgia Pacific, and big factory there, food processing, paper processing. But going down the street, probably about every 4 or 5 buildings was a bar. Brewskis, whatever we want to call dive bars. There, I would,
Right.
in these old brick buildings and stuff, a lot of bars. And Green Bay, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is Wisconsin.
But another thing you brought up, Tom, I forgot to bring this up. I have met people through, member of PCBA, that's Peachtree Corners Business Association. There's a plug for you guys. But I've met some people that around where I live, they've met their not their significant other, but they're dating through websites. So just what we're doing here. Uh, that's not how I met my wife, but there are people that go online and do things, and So interesting stuff.
Yeah. So, does your company use AI in its marketing content creation or CRM management or anything like that, or is it strictly?
We are getting into that area, with our training. And what's funny you mentioned that. Some people, it's good content, but they question it. Like, why do I have to? We teach our system's real simple. We teach you to make 8 calls, okay, and after the 8 calls, you put it aside for 6 months. You come back. As well as using LinkedIn and all the other social media things out there. And yes, the you mentioned, are we using it? Yeah, because in our we're taking that type of content and using AI to modify it so it sounds like all of us, which isn't a bad thing to do. It's simplifying the process, even for training, taking existing platforms, programs, and modifying them, bringing it more up to date. So, answer to that question is yes. Now, do we solely live on the edge with that? No. And I know some companies, because I call on them. That's how they roll. Because I've asked, well, how do you get customers or clients? Or, oh, we just use our website AI and we just crank things out like in a funnel landing page, you know. And that's how they do it.
Yeah, that AI can organize where they are in the touch process. Where they are, how they respond to an email. Did they respond?
Right.
Will trigger this type of next response. So things that you can do on a very small scale, but on a massive scale, you couldn't do it.
Right.
At some point in time, you go, where did I put that note card?
I remember back in the day, I'm pulling this up. You remember these
Rolodex?
no, these crazy
Oh,
things.
stick 'em notes. Oh yeah, I got them all
I
around.
remember seeing those things all over people's screen.
Oh,
Yeah,
in my calendar and everything else.
oh yeah. I
I've got.
remember.
I turn my camera down. I got them all along the bottom of
And
the
my,
monitor.
my wife is notorious for that. I think that's the journalism.
Always have paper by my side, right?
Yeah. And it's okay to have a notepad so you can write things down, and that's cool too. I've always got one laying around somewhere, but I know our friend Ben Gay, he is a big promoter of that. He's still living on the edge with paper and pen, which I think is good. And
What
I
he's
think,
saying that one time we talked with him, he has a yellow pad
right.
on his coffee table on
And
his.
don't you dare move it. Don't move it, man. He'll probably
He
break
has
out.
it at hand. No matter what he's doing, he can always. Thought comes, he writes it down.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But that's a good point. And I think sometimes, Tom, it's good to write things out longhand and then go back and say, okay, this is what I got. And then use the technology to your advantage. It's
I
kind of fun.
remember, I remember something I learned from Bob Proctor when I was going through his Thinking the Results program about this is your genius right here, your pen. What flows through you sticks to you.
Right.
So many people, and there's college research and stuff. When Bob brought that up, did some research on it. College is very concerned with those people using technology. They're tapping screens, they're texting, they're writing with their finger. But there's something happens when you have to use a physical pen,
on paper.
a pencil to paper,
Yeah.
and how it programs into your neurons, how it functions in your brain. More creativity comes out of the writing than the computer. This thing here.
Okay. My son is teaching at a high school. When you ask them math questions, or if you said, what's half of 40, or what's 25 times 3, they can't process it in their brains. So you know what? They got to go to their iPhone and tick, 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 and then they'll give you the answer. And he was telling me this yesterday. My wife and I, we had a brunch, And I don't know if you remember this, but remember multiplication rock back in the day, 1973, it first came out. I'll probably have to send something. It was a big tool that for kids to learn their times tables, math, uh, and then from that it talks about they used I am a bill, about how a bill gets processed legally, within our constitutional laws and all that. And it's really kind of cool. It's for kids. It's probably all of us could watch it and learn from it. How a bill becomes a law, and the president can veto that. It touches on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing how when you talk to people and say, hey, what's half of 50 or what's half 110, they can't do it mentally in their brain. And that's kind of scary. And that's one of the things, he's a coach as well. They can't process things up here, and if you ask them why they're doing something or different coverages, they don't know the why behind it, which there's got to be a reason for things, right?
Yeah.
Just some food for thought.
Well, our education system, I know your wife's a teacher in the education system, but that doesn't mean, but when I came up, we learned how to write numbers, all that type of stuff. And I'm wondering, how did these kids, I could have cared less of what gender I was in the third grade, right? I didn't know anything about ABC genders, who cares?
Yeah. Oh, and just real quick, in high school, and I'll let you go, Tom, they give them laptops. And my son said, if you want to go back to the basics and get these kids on track, take away the laptops, because half the time they're playing games on them anyway. Now, he's 25, so he would know. It's not that long ago. He was in high school, but this is what they do. And it's kind of scary when you think about it. I mean, for the whole year, you're given a laptop. It's yours.
It's really scary. Wisconsin at one point was known as one of the best school systems in the country.
Right.
The public schools. Well, they suck now. Less than 1/3 of the kids at grade level could read, do math at grade level. And it's even worse in Milwaukee. Less than 5 or 10% can't even read at grade level. But they can come May 1st, they'll go out and protest ICE, or they'll go out and promote socialism. I saw one post that they're interviewing a young person that was let out of school, which as a taxpayer, I'm curious. They're there to learn, not to be out protesting. They can protest all they want on their own time,
right?
But not in the taxpayer's dollar. So these teachers can go out and indoctrinate these young people,
right,
to think the way they think. That's my responsibility as a parent, to bring them up on the moral standards, faith standards, my views politically. That's my responsibility, no one else's, not yours, market, or anything else. Now, if we agree, then that's a different story. But that's kind of amazing that our educational system is crashing and burning. And,
sure.
In my opinion, if you look at history and some of these other political positions, Marxism, communism, socialism, they're designed to corrupt the education system. Indoctrinate people versus educate people, two different things.
And that brings me to this point, Tom. It's the newest shortcut, but shortcuts, as you and I know, have always existed. And it can create lack of discipline, lack of consistency. And are you using AI? Here's the question: to compress time or to avoid effort? I'll say it again. Are you using AI to compress time or to avoid effort? And it all goes back to those two words, discipline and consistency.
Yeah. It's like
They go hand
a
in hand.
carpenter knows what a hammer does and what a saw does, right?
Right.
We should be teaching our people how to read and write, use their own cognitive abilities, be able to analyze and critical thinking.
Right.
Don't take it from because he or she said.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to analyze, do research, and come up with their own
Right.
cognitive evaluation.
And it's funny you mentioned that. Carpenters, electrician, contractors, we could get into people that refurbish homes, people that do drywall. There's math, there's science, there's something that you learn in school every day they're applying. Now to them, it's probably second nature. But if you ever watch someone that builds decks, go check out when they start from square block one to the finished product. If you follow them all the way through, they're not looking for an AI tool out there. Not that they don't use it. They can probably say, here's an image I'm thinking of. This is how I want to do it. That's different. But they know foundationally how they're going to approach things. And just like building a house, man, it's the same principle.
Yeah. It's really scary. You see the competency of a young person or in our culture. Could be different ages. Can't even make change on a $1.59 purchase, and somebody gives you two. They can't do the math.
Well, this happened.
$1.49, and here's your two, right?
I had a $20 bill. I was going to leave a tip. I said I want 5 ones and 3 5s. And I stumped the star. I mean, it was like, what was that again? 5 1s and 3 5s out of 20, right? That comes up to 20. Last time I checked, I think what threw it was the 5 1s and the 3 5s.
Or just I watch an amazement with them counting it says the computer on the checkout, register says $1.85 change, right? It says it gives you $1.85. You can see him going, dollar. Where's the dollar? Oh, there's $1.85, 70, 23, and a dime. You could, it's bizarre.
Well, you need to actually create that change. Yes. It was funny. That's why my dad back in the day, I guess he was smart. He made us. I helped my brother on a paper route, and we'd have to collect. Well, sometimes somebody would owe $5, and they'd give you 5. Or sometimes they owed you $2.50 and they gave you 10. Well, you're going to have to make change, and I had one of those little changer things in the front. Remember, you could put coins.
Oh, yeah.
With quarters, nickel, dime, and pennies, and they'd laugh about it, but I knew what I was doing. And they said, hey, yeah, that's good. And I had a little billfold with dollar bills in there. So it was really interesting. Stuff you go through. But please understand, everybody, we're not knocking that's not what this is about. We are not denouncing AI in the least. We think it's a great tool, a great mechanism. I think you can do a lot of things with it, and people are making money with it. God bless you. I commend you on that. I am not making fun of you in the least. I think we can all learn from using this tool, though. And Tom, I know he's big about when he mentioned about about Bob Proctor, and I watched something on him on YouTube, and he mentioned that very same thing. Use the pen. Don't and sit down with paper, because you can't. You're just kind of faking yourself out when you do it that way. That would be like virtually going through a workout session or virtually working on a pitcher, not actually pitching, but virtually coming up with these pitches and when he's going to throw what, Now they do use AI in football. They do use AI in baseball. Yes, they do. Absolutely. They look at tendencies, breaking things down. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, foundationally, you got to know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, back to the pen. There's some studies that show that those that write their notes, taking notes from the professor or the teacher or whatever, write that stuff down as they're going, versus the person that's texting or typing in on a tablet or a phone, outperform those that use devices substantially. Even if somebody may have a higher IQ, and whatever IQ means, I don't know. I guess I should look it up in AI. It might tell me what my IQ is, but I hope it's 3-digit of some sort.
Right. But Tom, that's a great point. We take things for granted, and that's what I learned from my dad. I guess because he was in the military, and the job he had at the Bethlehem Steel, he was a write it down fanatic. And I remember before I went to college, when I was a freshman, I took a course in study skills. And this guy, Joseph Bellmeyer, it's funny how you remember. He was a business person like yourself, because he ran his own business. And one day he said, "Why are you in here?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean, Mr. Bellmeyer?" He goes, "You don't need to be in here. You know what to do." And he said, you thought this would be tougher than what it is, and you're doing what you're supposed to do, because they'd get your midterm grades. And he said, "I don't want to see you ever back in here again." But I learned a lot in that. It was I think it was like half a semester, but it was really cool what he taught. And he shared some of his experiences and writing things down, what you were talking about and why it's important. Don't just read the book and highlight, make notes.
Yeah, physical notes.
Yeah, and that's one thing my son talked about. You'll see kids with their laptop and they're doing this and they're not engaged because they're so worried about taking their notes, with their computer, that instead of writing things down and maybe have question mark and say, "Hey, Tom, I got a question about that last thing you were talking about," because they're so worried about keeping track. But that's really all I had today. And Tom, if you want to add anything to it, but I enjoyed talking about this. And it's not going to go away, everybody, because we're already using it indirectly or directly, as the case may be. But we are. And if you don't think AI is not being used in the financial world, guess again. Political world, guess again.
Yeah.
It's a matter of how you monitor it and how you, take control of it. But I am a big believer. If you're like in your 20s and you're shying away from it, I wouldn't. If you're looking to work for somebody, or even if you're going to do your own thing, I'd grab hold of it.
Yeah. Become an orchestrator. Instead of letting AI replace your output, use it to multiply your efficiency.
Right. And when the people see
anything you do in a job is efficiency. Right. The more efficient you are, the more money the company makes, the more value you become.
Right.
If you become less efficient, you're gone. Plain and simple. And if you let AI take away your efficiency, you're the one that's going.
Right.
So leverage it, right, Mark? Use AI to leverage.
Absolutely.
I saw that someplace that AI is a leverage.
Right. It is. It's a leveraging mechanism, and it's based on your discipline and consistency to go out there and implement it. And that's where, a lot of people fall short. Your average person will look at it and go, "I don't even want to mess with that." I know people that still pay their bills by writing out checks and doing it that way, not making fun of it, but then don't get upset when you're late and you're relying on the mail. It's your call how you want to do it.
Well, Mark, AI, it's on the news every day. It's in our forefront. It's being used. The moment you get on your Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, any social media, you're being analyzed, categorized, dataized, or whatever you want to call it.
When you travel, AI got you, man. They already got your image, and and on the dark side, what do you think the criminal element's doing with AI?
Oh, it's being used every day. A lot of these spam stuffs are just tied with the AI and take advantage of, maybe they recognize your weakness or whatever the case may be, because your profile, we all have a human profile. Yours is different than mine. Every human being on this earth is different, but it can be analyzed what type of.
Now somebody's going to take this and twist everything we said and put it out there on the web. I'm kidding.
Good. Get people thinking. That's the whole most important thing what we're doing here, Mark. So, well, I appreciate you and what you're doing, and you're still actively in the
Yes.
Business world with another company, and
Right. It's fun, and it's always good because we do talk about this at our meetings, and we need to, because things are different now. And like I said, if I said, "Hey Tom, can you call these 20 people, within the next 2 hours?" You just do it and say, "Okay, great. Here's the title, here's the position, here's the company," and I wouldn't have to tell you what to do. You'd come back and say, "Okay, here's the results, and here's what we talked about." And someone else may not do that, but then you could take that data into AI and say, "Okay, here are my results. How can I improve? Maybe what type of phrasing, or how should I state this that it's better received? My approach."
Sharpen, like you said here in your outline, you'd sharpen messaging, not generate generic scripts.
Right. And that's
And also, you mentioned something, and it's so important to understand. AI isn't going to make you successful. What's going to make success is you and your
Right.
belief system in that. So I understand this in sales. I hated picking up the phone, but I knew I had to. Right? I mean, there was no
I mean, who does, man? I'm kidding about it, but
fear, self-worth. If you become a student of your own, how you think will determine your outcome. Bottom line. So a lot of your success is going to be based on, are you right? I can or can't. You're right. Either way. So it really, a lot of your success isn't going to be generated by AI. It's going to be generated by your belief system of what you're capable of doing, what you're willing to learn, what are you willing to sacrifice, what are you willing to incorporate in you as a person that will focus on what you want in success. And your success definition is going to be different than mine in my life. Okay. And take it from the personal development, I think, is the key here too.
Right.
AI can't do that for you.
And that's a great point, Tom. What type of material do you read daily, which goes back to consistency and discipline. And I haven't finished it yet because I'm highlighting and making cryptic notes on my sticky pads in my book, but it's called Mental Toughness by Andy Frisella. I know some of you may know him. He is very hardcore, but he will tell you the truth to the quick. Some of you may not like the language he uses, and that's okay too. But that doesn't stop the message of what he's sharing with us. And he gets into a lot of things of business, politics, medical profession. We could go on, and he's spot on a lot of them. He's not always 100% right. We're all human, but it's important to listen to people like that because they have some really good messaging. David Goggins is another one. Hey, if you want to learn about technology and doing this, go see Ken Walls. Learn from him about how to live stream, how you approach it. I know he's talking about AI as well, and using it as a tool and how to promote yourself. And, we could go on. There's so many unique people out there. I mentioned Randy Chafee. He's out there just about every day doing something, building wins. He's always talking about that. Check him out. And I'm trying to remember his cohort in crime because we had him on here. He's going to kill me. The guy that's behind the scenes that does a lot of Wes.
Wes.
Wes. Yeah, I'm sorry, Wes. I had an aneurysm there for a second. But guys like that, they're out there doing it, and they're consistent.
Yeah.
And these aren't like tremendous. When I say heavy hitters, like if you mention that name to someone, who's that? Of course, some people don't know who Andy Frisella is. Some people don't know who Jeffrey Gitomer is. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Ben Gay. Some people don't know who that is. They think it's an ointment you put on your knee or something, But I'm just saying, it's all a matter of the circle. And with that, I'll close. You can take AI and program in, what should I be reading for personal development? What's out there? Who should I be associating with if I'm going to build a business, or I want to do public speaking, or it could just go on, Tom.
Yeah. The key there is find those that are succeeding in whatever it is and clone what they do.
Yep.
Become disciplined, initiate it, discipline, those type of things. But it takes work, right? It takes work.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, AI.
And we're at top of the hour, 7:07. So we're about done. But Tom, what do you think? I'm going to let you close it out.
Well, AI doesn't stand for asshole intelligence. So it's artificial, which could be considered the former, but it's artificial. Use the hammer the way it's designed. It's a tool. A hammer is not made to saw, right? It's designed to impale a nail or another object into another object.
Right.
So, learn your tools, trust your tool, trust your swing, and you'll be fine. So with that all said, we appreciate everybody out there. Tag and share this with your friends. You never know how what I said or Mark said may influence or impact somebody's lives in a different way. Not saying that we have all the answers, but
oh no,
maybe some of our insight will cause you to ask that question. Gee, I never thought of it that way, and cause you to explore. But use AI as a tool, not a crutch. It's just going to enhance who you are and your desires and your passions and your dreams. Use it appropriately. It still comes down to personal development and belief systems, in my opinion. The human character, who you are, can't replace that with
right.
AI or anything else. With that all said, my friend, we'll do a little bit of
yeah, Tom's getting the heck of he's hanging in there with this new technology, and he's you look at that, he's got an applause thing going here, and he's bringing in some music. Yeah.
Well, Mark, you have a great evening. Are you dancing tonight?
No, because of Gina's. She's
that's
not
right.
Yet. Yeah. I got to take care of. But I'm so thankful Gina's back to being Gina. As a matter of fact, I heard a pan or two clang. So I guess that was my cue to get off here and help her. But that's why I grilled chicken and fish yesterday. So we're trying to prep.
I'll bring the beer. I'll be over in a half hour, my friend.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he'll show up with a beer, right? Okay.
Have a good evening. And
okay, thanks, Tom.
Wishing you all the best,
thanks
my friend.
to everybody who was out there or listening. Feel free. Do share this out.
Yes, please do. Thank you. Good night, everybody.